Hi there, and welcome to Lesson 6 of Nutrition and Digestion. In this lesson, we'll be continuing our conversation about unbalanced diet. However, this time, we'll be focusing on malnutrition due to excess nutrients. As you see already on the right side, I've made a note of what excess means. Excess is defined as too much or an overage of certain nutrients. Our keywords for this lesson are heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. 3 diseases in which are caused by excess nutrients causing malnutrition. Please take a moment to pause the video here and complete the first knowledge check of this lesson. Alright, now that you're done, let's take it up. Question 1. State the name of the condition caused by vitamin C deficiency. As we recall from last lesson, a deficiency is too little of a certain nutrient, or not enough of a certain nutrient. So, given condition, vitamin C deficiency results in scurvy. 2. State the name of the condition caused by vitamin D deficiency. This is rickets. 3. State the name of the condition caused by protein deficiency. It is kwashiorkor. 4. Define BER. This is in reference to lesson 4. BER refers to your basic energy requirements. 5. Define the term malnutrition. Malnutrition typically means a poor or a bad diet. 6. State the function of proteins in the body. Proteins have a function in our body in which allow our cells to grow as well as repair themselves. 7. State how much water an adult should drink per day. Approximately 2.2 liters. And lastly, 8. State the name of the minerals that harden bones. The 2 minerals that we ingest that harden our bones are calcium and magnesium. Please take a moment to fill in the rest of the answers with a different color pen and give yourself a tick for each correct answer. Moving on, let's now look at our overview for this lesson. In this lesson, we'll state the conditions associated with overconsumption of certain food groups. And as stated at the beginning, we call this excess. Secondly, we're going to explain the causes of heart disease and how it can be treated. Malnutrition itself you're going over your body energy requirements in terms of consumption, and you're not burning off that excess energy. What happens is that energy is stored in your body as fat to be used later. So A symptom is not using all of your energy intake, thus storing as fat. So underneath each of these symptoms, we're also going to list a solution. Of course, a solution to overeating is managing your eating habits. Increasing your intake of fiber and vegetables, as well as reducing the amount that you eat. Say, eating McDonald's limited to once a month rather than once a week, or just not eating as much per meal, will help you manage your eating habits and, of course, your weight in terms of obesity. Secondly, exercising will also help you burn off some of that excess energy intake, as well as not, again, eating as much sugars, in which your body will not have such a high amount of energy intake. Secondly, we have heart disease. Heart disease is not just caused by poor diet. There are other factors when it comes to heart disease, and we're going to focus on as many as possible. First of all, smoking increases your risk of heart disease. There are genetic factors. In addition, poor diet as well, or excess intake of saturated fats. Things like overeating fried foods will lead to a higher risk of heart disease, as well as poor exercise habits. So, one of the symptoms of heart disease is a higher risk of heart attacks. And a solution, of course, is, not to smoke, as well as manage diet and exercise habits. Ensuring that your heart is healthy is your primary way in which to fight or combat heart disease. Sometimes, of course, with genetic factors, it does increase. However, with something like genetic factors, it will decrease your risk of heart disease compared to someone who doesn't exercise or someone who does smoke. Lastly, we have diabetes, in which can be broken down into two types. We have type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, both of which are very similar. In type 1 diabetes, your body cannot produce insulin. Insulin is a hormone in which signals the breakdown of excess sugar in the blood. Because your body cannot produce any insulin, the body itself cannot break down excess glucose in the blood, letting it flow around, and that ultimately damages other cells and tissues. In type 2 diabetes, we have a very similar issue in which your body still can't produce insulin, but this is due to a negative feedback loop, where in the past, the pancreas, the organ in which produces insulin, has been either overworked or oversignaled, and it continuously releases insulin. So, either does not release enough or releases too much insulin. And this can affect your body in two ways. If your pancreas is overproducing insulin, we'll be burning off energy at an excess rate, and it'll almost seem as if one is hyperactive. Because the energy production is consistently moving, an individual will constantly be restless. Alternatively, if there is not enough energy due to this excess insulin release, the body will slowly begin tiring itself out as there's not enough energy for it to work anymore, and you'll start experiencing what we call hypoglycemia, a lack of sugar in the body. So, diabetes is caused in two different ways. There are genetic factors in which one can get it hereditarily or it is passed down. Alternatively, poor diet due to the excess amount of sugars or sweeteners can result in diabetes as well. The more we work our pancreas, the more likely we will have diabetes, just because we're working it too hard and will not be able to keep up. In a similar case, if we overwork our heart due to poor diet, lack of exercise, chances are we will also have a higher risk of heart disease. So, with diabetes, we can manage our diet, reducing the intake of sugar and sweeteners. The less sweets we eat, the lower the risk of diabetes. However, of course, with genetic factors, this is not always 100% possible, but it does reduce the risk. Lastly, again, better exercise habits. Ensure that your body can break down sugars and release energy more efficiently. So something to keep in mind here is, out of the three main diseases in which are caused by excess or overconsumption leading to malnutrition, exercise and managing your eating habits are your two primary ways to combat them. So moving forward, we're going to look at heart disease in a little bit more detail. The diagram of the heart shows the coronary arteries on the surface. These arteries supply the heart muscle itself with enough glucose and oxygen in order for it to operate. As we recall, glucose and oxygen are the two main molecules required to complete respiration or the production of energy. The heart muscle uses the glucose and oxygen, which release energy and enable the heart to continue to contract and expand, pumping blood around the body. Please take a moment to look at this clip that will be posted in the description section of this video. Write in the box below what you think heart disease is and how it is caused, in addition to the table we've completed above. Pause the video here. So now that you've completed the video, let's take a look at the best methods in which we can treat heart disease. The table below highlights how heart disease can be avoided and treated. Just like we discussed earlier, balanced diet and regular exercise is the first and primary way in which you can combat or treat heart disease. Eating a healthy, balanced diet that's low in fat and exercising regularly can help you avoid developing heart disease in the first place. In fact, regular exercise can cut your risk of developing heart disease by 50%. Heart disease itself is caused by a production of plaques. Heart disease itself is caused by a buildup of plaque in the coronary artery. And as the heart itself is constantly pumping, the buildup almost acts like a bottleneck. However, if we constantly work our heart, say we exercise, we will be able to prevent this bottleneck from occurring in the first place, as plaque would not be able to build up. Secondly, smoking. By not smoking, we reduce the risk of damage to our coronary arteries and other blood vessels. The last two ways to treat heart disease are medical procedures or medications that can help you prevent heart disease if you have genetic factors. Stents are a tube which are made of wire or plastic mesh that are inserted inside of your coronary arteries. This requires surgery, and the stents open up the arteries and widen them, allowing blood to flow through the heart muscles. Think of artificially opening up your arteries in which blood will then be able to flow. Lastly, statins are drugs that can be used to lower the amount of cholesterol that are in the blood. Watch the clip below that will be linked in the description section to show how stents work. Once you're finished the video, please complete the last knowledge check. Pause the video here and we'll take it up in just one moment. Alright, now that you're finished, let's take it up. Please take a moment to take a different colored pen and fill in the answers where you need to correct them. 1. Define the term excess. Excess is either overconsumption or too much. 2. Suggest 3 conditions caused by excess food. We've spoken about 3 diseases in this lesson: obesity, heart disease, and diabetes, all of which are caused by excess intake of food. Question 3. State the causes of each of the conditions. All these conditions are due to poor diet due to overeating or excess food intake, as well as a lack of exercise. 4. State 3 ways to help prevent heart disease. To exercise regularly, balanced diet low in fats, as well as not smoking are 3 ways in which you can prevent heart disease. Question 5. State 2 ways to treat heart disease. Statins and stents. Explain how the treatments for heart disease work. Statins are a medication that help lower cholesterol. Something to keep in mind are statins are not a silver bullet solution to treating heart disease. Many times, those who are prescribed with statins must take them for the rest of their life. Stents require invasive surgery in which they must place a wire mesh in the coronary artery to help expand it, allowing blood to flow through it. 7. Suggest a healthy, balanced meal that can help someone avoid developing heart disease. A decent, healthy, balanced meal will of course include a small part of each of the 5 main food groups. Lots of green veggies, minimal meat but still having protein, as well as some whole grains will fulfill the 5 main food groups: fats and oils, meats and protein, fruits and veg, grains and other carbohydrates, as well as dairy. 8. Define the term heart disease. Heart disease is a disease in which the blood vessels do not allow enough blood to the heart, resulting in heart attack. And lastly, define the term malnutrition. Malnutrition is bad or poor diet. Please take a moment to fill in the rest of your answers. Before we finish this lesson, I want to take a look at this cognitive activity, almost as an extension of this lesson. Strokes are caused in a similar way to a heart attack and for similar reasons. Describe and explain what a stroke is and how it would be caused. As many pupils would be familiar with, heart and stroke are typically tied together when we're talking about diseases. Strokes are also caused by blood clots or prevention of blood flow. However, rather than to the heart, like in a heart attack, strokes are caused due to the prevention of blood flow to the brain. And of course, this will be caused in a very similar way as a heart attack. Buildup of plaque can reduce the amount of blood flow to an area such as the brain, as well as smoking, which decreases the supply of blood to the body. So please take a moment to copy that down, and I'll see you in lesson 7. Take care.